Hey, all right. Hey, all right. Today we got favorite jokes of mountain folks in Booger Hollow. Oh yeah. Compiled by Jack Runninger, illustrations by Nick Powers. Alrighty. Did you ever notice that your problems don't seem near as bad when you can laugh? When any of us in Booger Hollow is down in the dumps, Uncle Zed can tell some of his stories about his neighbors, and our problems seem to just fly away. He says all his stories is true. We can't promise they is, but here is some of his best ones. We hope you enjoy them and that they help you forget your worries too. Uncle Matthew's city nephew Sam is a visiting this week. They was out in the pasture yesterday, and Uncle Matthew was a helping a cow that was a having a calf. Little Sammy's eyes kept getting bigger and bigger, and finally he turns to his uncle and says, "Reckon how fast a little cow's going when he runs to the back of that big cow." Uncle Clem is in the doghouse. He done got in an argument with his old lady, and she started to cry and says, "This is the way you treat me after all I gives you the best years of my life?" Uncle Clem says, "If them was the best ones, I sure am glad I didn't have to spend the other ones with you." Cousin Marion went to the sheriff last week to tell him her husband was a missing. The sheriff says you'll have to give me a description of him. Well, she says, "He's little and skinny and wrinkled and bald and wears false teeth. Come to think of it, most of him was missing for he was. He durst to come to a fork in the road next to Cousin Ezra's farm, and he don't know which way to go. He says, 'Cousin Ezra, I'm working in the field there,' and he hollers, 'Hey, Rube, does it matter which road I take to get to Chattanooga?' And Cousin Ezra says, 'Not to me, it don't.'" My old little brother's a visiting us, and he sure is a cheap rascal. He's a eating my food, a drinking my liquor, and a wearing my clothes, and hunting with my gun. But yesterday was the last straw. When I complained about him taking my best coon out in the hunting, he done laughed at me with my own teeth. And Cousin Charlie, the blacksmith, don't much like to admit it when he makes a mistake. Until the other day, he picks up a red-hot horseshoe by mistaking man, he really drops it in a big hurry. Cousin Claude was a standing there, and he starts to laugh and says, "Hit! Pretty hot, wasn't it?" Cousin Charlie says, "Nope. It just don't take me that long to inspect horseshoe." They had a big fox hunt over to Grover's Corner last week. And Cousin Reb ain't too bright, and he brung a female dog as part of the pack. The dogs took off real quick as soon as the hunts got started, and them hunters just couldn't hell keep up with them. Finally, they stopped at Uncle Jake's place, and one of them says, "Have you seen a bunch of dogs and a fox go by?" Uncle Jake says, "Yup. And doggone if that ain't the first fox hunt I ever seen where the fox was running fifth." This one's great. Simple. Cousin Rib says that every time he gets up, he sees red and green spots. Have you seen a doctor? I ask, and he says, nope, just some damn red and green spots. It ain't been smelling too good at our house lately. We got us a skunk in the basement. Uncle JD is supposed to be the smartest one in this here's butts. So I asked him if he's got any good ideas how we gonna get rid of this skunk. He thinks a minute and then he says, why sure, that's easy. All you gotta do is put a trail of breadcrumbs leading from the basement to the woods, and that skunk will follow that trail back to the woods while he's eating the crumbs. I seen him again this morning and says, thanks a lot. Now we got us two skunks in the basement. uh, uh, Preacher Ray was lecturing little Logie, and he says, do you know where little boys and girls go when they do bad things? Yes, sir, preacher, says little Logie. Beyond Martin's barn. Uncle Golly is awful bad about going to sleep in church. Preacher Ray decides he's going to learn him a lesson, so last Sunday in the middle of his sermon, when he notices Uncle Collie is sleeping, he says in a soft voice, everybody that wants to go to hell. And then in a real loud voice, stand up! I don't really get that. But, okay. This wakes Uncle Collie up and he jumps in a hurry. He looks around and says nobody else is stand. He says, I don't know what we is a voting that poor preacher, but it looks like you and me is the only ones for it. Cousin Nicky done visited the big city the other day, and when he comes back, he says, I done figure out the difference between city folks and country folks. Folks in the city moves the eating table outside the house and move the outside inside. The Burns got a real city fight and got them inside outside. Miss Burns got so anxious to try to hit out that she sat in the seat before the paint was dry and got stuck. They took the seat loose from the stove and just tried everything to get her loose from that seat. They finally gave up and called old Doc Adams. Miss Burns was kind of embarrassed, and she says to old Doc, did you ever see anything like this before? Doc Adams says, yes'm, but I do believe this is the first time I ever seen one framed. Oh, man. That's some good stuff. Take a little pause here. A little intermission. Here. Uncle Boone says my old wooden leg paid me something fierce last night. How can an old wooden leg hurt? I asked him, and he says, my old lady hit me over the head with it. I ain't seen Cousin Abe in a long time until day before yesterday, and I asked him where he'd been. He got married, he says. That's good, I says. Well, it ain't too good, he says. She awfully ugly. That's too bad, I says. Well, it ain't too bad, he says. She got an awful lot of money. That's good, I says. It ain't too good, he says. She awful stinky. I'm, s- I'm sorry. She's awful stingy. That's too bad, I says. Well, it ain't too bad, he says. She didn't buy me a house. That's good, I says. Well, it ain't too good, he says. It's done burned down. That's too bad, he says. Well, it weren't too bad, he says. She were in it. Oh, it's messed up. Oh, that's good stuff. The teacher done asked old Ezra Scoggins to come by the school. She says, I asked your boy who it was that signed the Declaration of Independence, and he says, damned if I know, and I think you ought to do something about it. Old Ezra grabs a hold of little Johnny and says, if you signed the damn thing, admit it. Uncle just went deer hunting last week. I seen a big buck there, he tells me, and I took 2 quick shots. What happened? I asked him. By the time I got the cork back on the jug, he says, the dead gum deal's gone. I don't really get those last 2, but maybe someone does. I was driving over Clot to the big city the other day when he'd seen one of them roadside telephone booths. He asked me to stop it and he goes in it. When he comes out, he says, you know, they got it fixed up real nice in there. It's even got a telephone. uh, a little intermission here. I was driving over Clot to the big city the other day. I just read that one. Sorry about that. Crazy like I fella, when he got on his truck, the fella says I got a load of manure to put on my strawberries. Crazy Egg says, well, everybody in their own taste, but around here we prefer to use sugar. Somebody asked Uncle Caleb if he ain't ashamed to have his wife support him by taking in laundry. I sure am, he says. But she's too ignorant to do anything else. Uncle Joe told Aunt Nancy I've been pretty good to you, ain't I? When we got hitched, I told you I'd carry you all over the rough places in life. Aunt Nancy says, that's right. You ain't missed a one of them, neither. There's here 2 tourists to stop and ask little Willie Brooks if he can tell him how to get to Grove City. Little Willie tells him he don't know. Well, then what's the next town we'll come to on this here road, they ask him. Darned if I know, he says. One of them tourists says, you're kind of stupid, ain't you, kid? To which little Willie replied, maybe so, but I ain't lost. A rooster was a chasing a hen across the yard yesterday. I throwed some going out in that old rooster, put on the brakes and started eating that corn. And Cousin Mose was standing there with me and he says, I sure do hope I don't ever get that hungry. I'll read the tourist one again. This is my favorite one. This here 2 tourists stopping and asked little Willie Brooks if he can tell him how to get to Grove City. Little Willie tells him he don't know. Well then, what's the next town we come to on this here road? They asked him. Darned if I know. One of them tourists says, you're kinda stupid, ain't you, kid? To which little Willie replied, maybe so, but I ain't lost. Jeremiah was having some trouble with his bow. He wouldn't do what he was supposed to do with his cows. I called the vet, he told me, and give him some pills to get that old bull. Man, it really done the trick. That old bull got after every cow in the pasture. What kind of pills was that? Says. I don't know exactly, he says. But they tasted kind of like peppermint. Cousin John's city, Cousin Rupert is a visiting this week. They ain't got much room, so he's got to sleep with their youngest son, Donnie. I don't think this is going to be pretty. The first night, Cousin Rupert saw little Johnny kneel by the side of the bed to say prayers. He better set a good example, so he kneels down on the other side of the bed. Little Donnie says to him, boy, you sure are gonna catch hell from Ma. The pot's on this side of the bed. Hopefully. Okay. How you been a feeling, asshole Lukey? I've been kind of sickly, he says. Doc Adams told me to take some pills every day with a little corn whiskey. Is you feeling better now? I says, pretty good, he says, considering I'm 3 weeks behind on the pills and 6 weeks ahead on the whiskey. My nephew Homer is having a hard time getting married. Every time he brings a gal home, his ma don't like something about her and won't let him marry her. Finally, he finds a gal just like his ma, and he figures his problems are solved. But when he brings her home, his pa don't like her. That makes sense. Some little kid was bragging to little Jimmy Miles and says, my old man can lick your old man. Little Jimmy says, big deal. So get my old lady. That's wrong. Uncle Jeb doesn't look none too happy, and he asks him why. He says, I just shot my dog. Was he mad? I asked him. Well, he says he weren't too pleased. Oh, Doc Adams checks over Miss Bodine and says to her husband, I don't like the way your wife looks, Mr. Bodine. Well, Doc says, old man Bodine, I ain't too crazy about her looks neither, but she is right good to me and the kids. Oh, Uncle Roger figures he's gonna hit it rich. He done invented a new stereo deodorant. He don't kill the smell, but nobody can tell where it's coming from. Oh, more fate. Oh, just youngest daughter, Lydia May is the only one that talks all the time. She knows her pa don't. She knows her pa don't like Yankees too well, so she was kind of scared when she asked him, Pa, what would you say if I told you I was gonna marry a Yankee? Oh, Josh says, I'd say we was about to begin to get hit even with them damn Yankees at last. Ugh. Woo! Congratulations is in order for Miss Hawkins. She done had herself triplets. Her doctor says it don't happen but once in every 200,000 times. When Miss Coy heard that, she says, "Woo! I wonder when she ever finds time to do housework." uh, uh, Cousin Gert is kind of fast and ain't got too good a reputation. And Preacher Wright is kind of concerned about her. He says last week and says, or he seen her last week and says, "Sister Gertrude, I done prayed for you 3 times last night." Gert says, "That wasn't necessary, preacher. All you had to do was give me a call and I'd come right over." I told Cousin Gay I got a dog for my wife, and he says, "You sure I like it. I wish I could make a trade like that." Old man Sims drowned last week. When they found his old will, he done left his wife $50,000. Miss Myers says to Miss Sims, "Just imagine him leaving you all that money. Him that couldn't even read or write or swim," says Miss Sims. "I reckon Cousin Tom has been making another batch of his moonshine. His rabbits have been done over here again abusing my coonhounds." And Cousin Leroy looks kind of sick yesterday, so I asked him, "What's wrong?" And he starts cussing old Doug Johnson, our local vet. "I couldn't get my mule to take the pill he's supposed to take," he says. "So Doc, he tells me to put it in a tube and blow the pill down the mule's throat." "Sounds like a pretty smart idea," says. "Not," he says, "even the mule blows first." Uncle Razzie always wanted a professional man in his family, so he was right proud when his boy David went off to school and studied to be a tree surgeon. He didn't get to practice long, though. He had to give it up when he fell out of a patient. Wow. Oh, I think I'm done. There's some more in here, but give me something to eat. I'll just read this one. "Uncle Ed did old Doc Adams really mean." Uncle Ed did old Doc. Uncle Ed, did old Doc Adams really mean it when he says you wouldn't live a weekend if you didn't stop chasing women? Uncle Ed says, "I reckon he did. I've been chasing his wife." There's another good one here somewhere. I gotta find it. Over old Doc Adams. There we go. Old Doc Adams checks over old man Carter and says, "Mr. Carter, you's in right good shape. You'll live to be 80 years old." Old man Carter says, "But Doc, I'm 80 years old." Doc's a quick thinker and says, "See? What I tell you?" Uncle Clem was in World War II and they done sent him to France. He was in a restaurant one day and the waitress asked him if in done he ever ate snails before. "No, ma'am," He says, where I come from, we can't even catch him. Oh, rock on. Peace out.